Do you struggle with managing your time? Do you feel like you will never catch up? Well, the good news is you're not alone. In this episode, we talk about ways that you can successfully and efficiently manage your time. Coming up right now. Welcome everyone, Michael Finley here with another episode of Leadership Roll Call, where we give you tips, suggestions, and recommendations on how you can become a more effective leader. Our topic today is time management. It is a topic that everybody deals with. I don't know of anyone that say, you know what, I am 100% sure that I can manage my time effectively. All managers deal with time management issues, especially new managers. Just think about this. They all have new employees, and the new employees are trying to figure out what the boss wants, so they're going to keep asking them and bombarding them with questions. The new manager has a new boss, and the new boss wants to make sure that their manager is going to do the right thing, so they're going to ask questions and have meetings and status updates and things like that. The new manager is going to go to more meetings than they've ever been to. The new manager is going to have more responsibilities than they've ever been to. They're going to get copied on more emails. And so they get bombarded with all these requests of their time. And new managers sometimes suffer because they don't effectively manage their time well. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about things that you can do to more effectively manage your time. Now, as we discuss these things, there's a lot of things that we can do. And I'm not suggesting you do every single one of these. What I am suggesting, though, is pick one. And once you've accomplished that, then move to the next one. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what takes up your time. Do you know how many meetings you go to? How much time you spend answering emails? Well, a lot of people don't. They can take a guess at it, but they don't know what that is. So the first thing I'm going to suggest to you is do a time audit on yourself. For about 2 weeks, write down when you are doing something. If you're answering emails from 9 to 9:30, write that down. If you attend 5 meetings that week, write those meetings down and write what time it takes. If you are spent answering your employees' questions or having one-on-one with your employees, things like that, write it down. At the end of 2 weeks, you're going to have a pretty good snapshot of what takes up your time. And you can see that maybe 20% is spent on meetings, maybe 50% is spent on emails or whatever it is. But we don't really know how to manage our time until we know how we spend our time. So you can do this, you can write it on a pad, you can create an Excel spreadsheet. You can also use an app out there like Toggle, T-O-G-G-L, and I'll put the link in the comments below. There's things that we can do that we can effectively document what we spend our time on. And then and only then will we know how to manage our time more effectively. Next, and this is the big topic, we could probably do a whole episode on this, is how to manage your email. Now, we get bombarded with emails. We get copied on things. Sometimes they want us to do something. Sometimes they want to inform us. Sometimes it's just an advertisement for something else. Now, there are those out there that say you can get to a zero inbox. I'm not one of those. But I think you can shrink the amount of emails in your inbox where you can manage them effectively. So how do we do that? First, you want to get rid of all the junk mail you receive. It seems like I get copied on 10 things a day. Things I don't even remember signing up for. So when you get junk email, an advertisement, anything like that, just hit unsubscribe, get rid of the junk email. So that's the first thing you need to do. Second, turn off the notifications for Facebook or Instagram or things like that. Check those things on your break or when you get home. When you have a notification on, say, Facebook, someone sends you a message and it pops up, you're like Pavlov's dog and you immediately quit what you're doing and you go look at what that email is. So turn off those notifications and do it when you want to, not when you feel like you need to. So there's different ways to manage your email, and this is one of them. Create a filter where it goes into one of 3 folders. Number 1 is action needed. That means you need to do it pretty much right now. Number 2 is read later. That's something that's important, but you don't really need to do it right now. And the third one is reference. You might need it later on, so you're going to keep it over there. So if you take your emails and put them into those 3 buckets, you know now that the ones that you need action needed, those are the ones you need to do right now. The ones read later, you can do it later at your leisure, and for reference, you can keep those out there. So that's just one way you can manage your email inbox. Next, from a time management standpoint, don't try to multitask. Studies show that multitasking does not work. It takes our brains too long to go from one topic into another. A lot of people say they do it well, and it's on every job application. I get it, but it really doesn't work. The best thing you can do is, instead of trying to do two things at once, pick one thing to do and set aside, block off your time to do that. If you need to work on a project, you got the ABC project and you got the XYZ project, instead of trying to work on both of them, set some, 9 to 10, I'm going to work on the ABC project. 10 to 11, I'm going to work on the XYZ project. But block off the time and treat it like you would a meeting or a doctor's appointment. If something happens and interrupts you, move that time, but still keep that time and say, you know what, I'm still going to try to keep that hour or whatever it is you've done to do that. So don't try to multitask and block off time to do things. Next, you want to determine a priority system. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's a lot of things that you're going to get asked to do, and you need to prioritize them. So if your boss says, I need information for a report in the next 45 minutes, that's pretty high on your priority list. If someone says, hey, I'd like for you to proofread this report for me, that's pretty low on your priority list. It's really not important to you. So you want to determine a priority list and how to manage your priorities, how to create your priorities. The most popular one was created by Stephen Covey, and it's called the Eisenhower Matrix, named after Dwight Eisenhower, former European theater commander in World War II and later United States president. So in this, there are 4 squares. Now, number 1 is it's urgent, and it's also called the urgent important matrix. So in the first square is the number 1 square. It's both urgent and it's important. Thus, when the boss says, I need a report in 45 minutes, or there's a conflict going on the floor and you need to manage this. So these are things that you need to do right now. They're both urgent and they're both important. In the second square, it's important, but it's not urgent. And what do we mean by that? And it could be that a report's due on Friday and today's Monday. It's not really something you have to do right now. It's important, but it's not urgent, right? It could be coaching your employees. Again, it's important, but it's not urgent. It's not something you have to do right now, but it is something you're going to need to do, and you need to set aside time to do that one. In the third block, it's urgent, but not important. And what do we mean by that one? Well, that's the one where your buddy comes in and asks you to proofread a report that they've done. It's urgent for them, but it's not really urgent for you. So it's urgent, but it's not important for you. So these are things that we can maybe delegate or just not do. And of course, the fourth square is it's neither urgent nor important. These are, I hate to say it, this is, looking at social media. It's not really urgent or important. We cannot do that, and so these are things you just need to get rid of. So there are plenty of priority methods out there, and this is just one example of it. But one important note about priorities: what your priorities are at 9 o'clock in the morning are going to be different at noon and at 3 and things like that one. So you need to constantly update your priorities. You need to constantly review what your priorities are, and they're going to shift around. So don't just think you've done it once in a day and that you're done with. This is a constant evolution of looking to see what's going on and reprioritizing the tasks that you need to do. Next thing you need to do is a to-do list. And look, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can put it on scrap paper. You can use your Outlook calendar. You can use sticky notes. You can use a dry erase board. You can use all of them. But you really need to have a to-do list. It really helps to have up front what you need to do. So regardless of how you do it, just have a to-do list and whatever works best for you. Next, and this is a big one, we want to manage interruptions. Now you notice I didn't say we're going to get rid of interruptions. There's no way we're going to get rid of interruptions. As a boss, as a leader, we are constantly interrupted. It could be our employees, it could be our own boss, it could be a coworker. We're constantly interrupted. But we need to manage our interruptions. What do we mean by that? Well, just like I was talking about earlier about the audit, what I want you to do for 2 weeks, I want you to document when you get interrupted, who does it, and what the topic was about and the time. And after about a 2-week period, you're going to figure out that probably 80% of your interruptions were done by 20% of the people. It may be Tom in your department, and he constantly asks you about a project, and he keeps interrupting you, and he wants guidance on this. Well, if you look at this trend, and you can see that Tom interrupts you about a specific product, this will give you an idea that Tom maybe needs some training on that product, right? If Bob interrupts you constantly over mindless things, the things that he should already know. This is an opportunity for you to coach Bob. Let him know what's on the list and say, Bob, I'm here for you. However, there are things that you're doing, you're interrupting me, and do you think we can lessen this impact? Now, this is not a document to go, aha, I got you. It's not anything like that. But it's a way to see who interrupts you, what they're interrupting you about, and the time of day. Maybe there's more interruptions in the morning than there are the evening. But it allows you to manage your interruptions better, and you can address them by either more training, talking to them, anything you can do like that. So you want to manage your interruptions. And lastly, and this is one it's kind of painful to do at the beginning, learn how to say no. Now, as a new boss, as a new leader, we want to please everybody. I get that. I was in the same position. I still am sometimes. And when someone comes to me with a problem and asks for my help, if I can, I will say yes. But if you constantly say yes, then you're not going to have time to do the things that you need to do. So if someone asks you to do something and it's important, yeah, sure, go ahead and do it. But if it's not important, if it's not going to help you, or if it prevents you from doing your own job, then you need to learn how to say no. Now, it could be, and just please let people know, you don't do it politely, right? You don't want to go, no, I'm not doing that. Say, well, Bob, I would love to do that, but I have this project that I need to get to that's more important right now. And if I get done in time, I will gladly look at your project. But right now, this is what I need to focus on. And they will understand because they're in the same boat. So learn how to say no. Now, look, I just gave you a real quick list of some things that you can do with time management. I'd like to hear from you. What are some things that you do to help you manage your time? Please put it in the comments below. And if you would like to see more about this, please let me know and we'll do another version of this with some more topics that you can use to help manage your time more effectively. So I hope this overview was beneficial to you. If you have a question about this topic or any topic that you would like to see in the future, please put it in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Until next time, good luck with your time management.